Assalamu alaikum everybody, this is Nazia Khan from Management House in CEO Club Pakistan, and I'm here for Coffee with CEO session. And I am very glad today to have SHAFAAT. SHAFAAT, it's a very different
SHAFAAT
name.
with a T, with a T, yeah.
और अभी उन्होंने इसका बड़ा खूबसूरत मीनिंग भी मुझे बताया था, which we'll be explaining later. SHAFAAT here. अच्छा जी, this is almost our 60th session of Coffee with CEO today, and the special thing about today is that we are having a CEO who is operational in Dubai, in UAE. आज तक हमारे जितने सेशंस हुए हैं, all the CEOs either they are working in Pakistan, they are operational, they are the locals who are working with all of us. But I am very glad to have him here, who is a Pakistani, a true Pakistani, but is working in UAE. Or this is not not here to stop. He's not into one area specifically. He's the one who's a speaker too. He's the one who's a rare entrepreneur too. He is heading an agency, advertising agency in UAE, and along with that, he is doing asset management too there in Dubai. And then along with all this, he is a motivational speaker and a trainer too. So much together in one personality. Thank you, SHAFAAT, for being here.
Thank you so much, Nazia.
So let's, sorry for calling your name wrong. I'm really sorry, but it's really a very different name. Can you please explain the name to the audience that it's not Shafaq or it's not Shafaqat or anything like that? So it's SHAFAAT.
SHAFAAT is my grandfather's name.
Okay.
When I was born. It's an interesting story because he went to Medina. And he called up my mother from Medina and he said that very soon you'll have a good news and you'll have a son. And since the son, let's say the Bishara of the son is coming from Medina, so obviously he's somebody who's recommended. And that's where the name SHAFAAT Rasool came up. Now, since we belong to the Hashmi clan or the tribe, which is from Ahlul Bayt, so that's where the whole name was put together, which is SHAFAAT Rasool Hashmi. So somebody with whom the Prophet, peace be upon him, recommendation or mercy is with us. And frankly speaking, I've seen it in my life.
Oh,
because it's always been there, and that's why we're still sitting here,
SHAFAAT, so you are an entrepreneur and then you are an entrepreneur in Dubai. So can you please tell us about all of your ventures one by one? That what you are doing in what company, your company name, and then whatever you are doing.
So we started off really early in business. My father is a fighter pilot with Air Force, and once he retired, like a lot of Fauji's, they started, okay, what next after retirement? So we started with a few ventures. They were successful. We were pretty young. He involved me in those businesses at a very early age. So while I was, as soon as I was done with my A-levels, I started my own academy, a very small one, with the same teachers who were teaching me.
That means an entrepreneur in teens?
In teens. That academy apparently did pretty well. And I started teaching business studies. That's what I was good at. I loved the subject. Moving further, there was this, the foreign currency and stocks were seized by Pakistani government during 1998. Our stakes were in the stock exchange. So we lost a lot of money because we weren't really trading in shares, but most of our exposure was in currency and FEBCs. So my father said, SHAFAAT, we need to do something. That's where I started importing some aluminum composite panels with a firm known as Pakistan Alco. The previous management has changed, the board has changed, it has been sold out a few years ago. So we are partners with them. I brought in two agencies of Hyundai Alcomax and Hansol from Korea.
In what age you are talking about?
I was probably 16 or 17, and I remember flying down to
16 or 17.
Yeah, and I flew to Korea.
You mean a 17-year-old boy is flying to Korea
on his own?
On his own.
Okay.
And it's not this age, it's in 1990s.
It's somewhere in late 90s, early 2000s. And I clearly remember this guy, his name was GupShup Kim, who was the director of marketing for Hyundai. And he gave me a photograph of his. So the moment I landed at Seoul Airport, I was looking at the photograph, looking at everybody.
Where is he?
I'm like, all right, I can't recognize him, but I'm sure he's going to recognize me, because they pretty much all look the same to us. Unfortunately, back then, nobody could hardly speak English. It was very difficult. But anyways, we brought in the agency exclusively for Pakistan back then. I cracked the deal 1 week. And that was the time when I looked at Renault manufacturing cars with Samsung. So I was amazed at what Korea has done as far as their industry was concerned. So we came back and I started out with a small printing press. 220,000 rupees was my investment in a rota machine.
220,000 rupees was the investment
in a rota machine.
You started with 220,000 and again a 19 or 18-year-old guy.
Yeah, 18 years old.
Okay. In 17 you flew and then in 19 you started up your own.
Correct. So I flew, I brought in the agency. I still remember we were getting a container done for 3 million rupees. I was making a good 100% profit on top of it. We were selling it off at 6. So the cash flow became better. We were able to get back into business. We were able to recover our losses in less than 2 years. The rota machine, which I got in a small shop in Royal Park, that was a partnership between me and my father. We ran it pretty well. In 1.5 years, we made it into a fully integrated press internally.
Okay. I think so we should write a book or make a movie.
I remember the first title which I ever designed was for my father's magazine with the name of Moment, the monthly Moment. That was done in 1998. That was the first design which I created with a graphic designer sitting next to me. And I was telling you what kind of title and what kind of color should be there. And I remember getting my inspiration from Time magazine and Newsweek with a red border.
Red border, yes.
So everybody was like, "Why are you putting in a red border?" I was like,
It's international.
It's international, and they have done a good thought process around it. So we started from there. A typical MBA graduate. You're young, you're thriving, you want to see the corporate culture, you want to learn more. So I had 2 choices to make. Either I could be a desi Seth, running my own business, or I could just go around, kill my ego, and learn something from people who have done great in this life. I got a very good opportunity with Levi's in Lahore. So I went in there as a marketing in brand.
Okay.
In brand management.
So this means that branding or advertising is in you since the beginning.
So it has been my passion. I've learned it's not a very paying job.
It's not.
But and that's the reason that we later on diversified into real estate and asset management. But however, Levi's was an amazing experience because I learned a lot about retail. We had a country head, God bless him, Babar. Babar taught me a lot back then, and a number of other colleagues who were there. After Levi's, I was looking after Levi's, Dockers, and Signature.
Which year you left Levi's?
I left them in 2007. 2008.
So right from 2000 to 2007, but you was working with some other brands.
I was working and I was studying at the same time. Yeah. 2007, I left Levi's. I flew to Dubai. My visa was expiring.
How come this entrepreneurship came to you? You was happy, you was with Levi's, an international brand and all. Relocating and then entrepreneurship, दोनों बड़े मुश्किल decisions नहीं?
I think learning the local corporate sector was good. We opened up 12 retail stores in 1 month for Signature. That was one of the achievements. We opened up another couple of stores for Levi's and Dockers in Islamabad and here and there. I learned about visual merchandising for the first time. My MBA never taught me that. Retail marketing at its core wasn't taught to us. Consumer psychology wasn't taught to us, which I literally learned at Levi's. How a product is developed and a true brand is managed, I learned at Levi's. But however, moving further, when I went to Dubai, the reason was the same. That from a regular desi business, I wanted to learn corporate, and from corporate, I wanted to learn international business. And to reach that, my first destination was Dubai, where I learned how an international market operates, what happens there, what kind of different nationalities you're supposed to interact with, So I landed on a job as a head of marketing with Fakhruddin Holdings. They hired me as a marketing manager for properties, and within 3 months they promoted me as a head of marketing for the group. We achieved a lot. I launched 12 real estate projects with them in 1 year.
They promoted you?
Okay, the interesting part is they promoted me during a recession, which is even funny. So 2008 was one of the worst recessions in the Middle East. And I think globally as well. As we all know, it was a meltdown. They promoted me because they thought I bring value on the table.
And in 3 months?
In 3 months. So the team below me was kind of fired. The guys on top of me were fired. I was in the middle. I was the guy who was, hanging. And my CEO called me up and he said, "SHAFAAT, can you manage the whole group?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Because in 3 months we have seen what you have done, and I think you can manage it." So I was like, "Why not?" So it took me a couple of months to really understand the whole group because we had 1100 plus SKUs in perfumes. We had real estate, we had customers who were unhappy because they lost their money in real estate. We wanted to do a CRM campaign, we had to do a lot. So I learned from there. Then I was picked up by Sheikh Faisal Al-Qasimi, who is the Crown Prince of Sharjah from the ruler's office. He has a company with the name of Hospitality Management Holdings. And they also had an in-house advertising agency. So I went in there, worked with them. We launched 4 brands in 6 months for hospitality.
4 brands in 6
months. So one of them, Coral, was already there. Which is a very, the Coral Hotels is a brand that's already there for the last 2 decades. So we worked on corp executive hotels, came up with a 4-star concept for corporations only, dry hotel. We came up with Eva, which was again a 4-star hotel, but it was more on religious tourism. And we came up with Ecos, which was environmentally friendly hotel chain. So 3 brands, and we redid Coral completely in terms of its branding, its image, and everything. It was a revamp at a group level. We did pretty well. Moving further, I landed at another job, which was as a director for marketing and strategy in Range. And Range Developments was an amazing firm. It was in 2010.
So, in 2010 you ended up being the director?
Yeah, no, I was a director. I was the head of marketing, and even with Sheikh's firm, I was the director for strategy and marketing. So, we managed a lot of work. I learned a lot. I flew a lot globally. I learned hospitality business. I learned how you are a director and how you're standing at a reception or the concierge welcoming your guests. And I think this is the key. No matter what title you carry, you need to remain humble. You should remember your roots. You should connect with the customer at the level where they are. And we shouldn't be shy of servicing anyone, anywhere. For example, when I was in Levi's, I was standing at the retail store selling jeans. No matter I was working in brand, but I was looking into it. When I was a director with Hospitality Management Holdings, I would stand next to my concierge guy. Sometimes even in uniform, just to see what these guys do. How hard is their duty to work 8 hours or 12 hours a day, cleaning up rooms and housekeeping and serving stuff. How is it like in the kitchen? So we learned all of that, and we understood what are the things that really changes the experience of our guests. So that taught me CRM at a different level. Exponential growth is what I learned. Doing interiors and working around with contractors to get your hotel up in 2 months is what I learned. How to source and procure great materials and do amazing interiors is what I learned. How to do excellent procurement, cost cutting is something that I learned from there. And that was the year when I actually launched my agency, Brandbeat Advertising. So it took me $10,000 approximately to get a local license. Well, fortunately, I was single and I had all kinds of saving, nowhere to spend. So I opened up my agency. So when I landed as a director of marketing with Range, I told them that I already have an agency. So they said, okay, but wouldn't that be a conflict of interest because you're looking at marketing here and you also have your agency? So I said, well, my agency guys would do an open pitch.
If you like it, then accept it, otherwise
at a good cost. And we'll have other
It must be
agencies.
difficult for them to accept the agency of their own employee or something. Other than
So basically, when I joined Range, we were 5 people.
Aha.
It was really more of a startup. We were looking to raise money for the firm and for a project that we were doing in Iraq. So it was the vice chairman, the CEO, a receptionist, a coffee boy, and me. All right.
Okay.
So then we hired a director of sales as well, and we started. So I sold a project in Iraq off plan in 2010 and 11. That was a time when if you talk anybody about investment or real estate particularly, they were still having the aftershocks of 2008 and they won't really listen to you. So we did well, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, you did well. In 2010.
So yeah, we picked up a company out of nowhere. We
nowhere.
marketed it. We did a great PR. We were able to raise about $300 million.
Okay, so what was the thing behind that made you switch the high profile job from being an employee to the independent?
I think entrepreneurship.
It's you, it's what, it's money, it's what. I don't know why you shifted from being an employee
So
to the
frankly, I
independent.
thought that it's just like that you go into an institute to learn. And when your time finishes, you go into the market.
Okay.
So for me, employment was
The
an
institute.
institute.
Oh.
And when I
Okay.
thought that I'm ready, I've learned what the skills that I essentially wanted to learn. For example, my MBA never taught me how to do a private equity placement. My MBA never taught me how would you evaluate a company. And
How to calculate the ROI for any of the company or something.
even ROIs, how would you calculate the share price? How could you
No, they
raise
do tell
investment?
you how to calculate the share price.
No,
And
in
they
the-
do tell you.
no, in the sense, in terms of, okay, I am a startup.
Okay.
I have no balance sheet.
Then how?
What's the valuation?
What's the valuation?
Right. So these things they would never tell us. They would never tell us how you should write a good email to a potential investor.
To the potential investor.
Right.
It comes from you.
It
right?
comes from you. What is a fact sheet? What is an investment sheet? What is an investment document? What is even a brief, so to speak, that as a client you should write to an agency? All right. What kind of correspondence an agency should do with the client? So these were the things that I essentially learned. And I think the most important thing which I learned was building relationships and achieving excellence in all that you do. So I was working 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day. I would go to my office and I'll call up my wife and tell her that, you know what, just take the car back home. I'm flying somewhere. You know, so we worked very hard. And that's where entrepreneurship came in. My agency was doing well and I
So
thought
what exact year you started the entrepreneur you?
So 2012 is when I was full-fledged
The entrepreneur.
in the business. But I didn't just dive, without planning. So 2009-10 is when I put my agency in place. And moving further, I looked at how it's performing in the last 2 years remotely. I had a team of 5 people. They were doing good. They needed me. So I took a resignation, went in. I learned how to do investments, how to raise investments. I took some training courses
So
too.
SHAFAAT, can you please tell us from advertising to this investment?
So 2012, I put up a very basic small firm in Abu Dhabi with the name of Stallion Gates.
Why this investment? How this investment came to you? You was the advertising guy, no? You started
I still am.
advertising. I see you still are, yes, definitely. So ये investment कहाँ से बीच में आ गई और कैसे आ गई?
So advertising.
मतलब मैं अगर बोतल बेचती हूँ, कोक बेचती हूँ, तो फिर मैं जूता बेचने मतलब it's totally a different industry ना?
Not exactly.
How?
I think 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12.
To a layman, they both are the different industries.
Okay,
So might be you can link this up for all of us.
Here's the funny part. 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, I was with the real estate sector. In real
8,
estate
9, 10,
development.
yes, you told us.
Right.
Yes, you
Okay.
were with the real.
So when I was in real estate, what I learned that I being a director of marketing is making less, but there's a sales guy who makes a lot of commissions, All right, and he drives a Bentley. I mean, I'm still driving my Hondas, But that wasn't really the driving force. I thought it's not only money which brings you respect, it's how you spend your money and how you invest your money and how you give back to the community which helps you earn respect. So learning how to spend is possibly more important than learning how to invest to begin with. And learning how to spend will also define how and where you should invest and why you should invest. And that's really the motivational force behind it. So for me, it was that, okay, I have this objectives to achieve in my life. I need to be at a certain level. And to achieve that, advertising agency alone cannot do. Right? So I went to the real estate sector. We formed an asset management firm. I hired a couple of chartered accountants, a couple of CFAs, and stuff like that. I bought some fund managers from DIFC. I had very good contacts with investors in the GCC. So I created my board. I became the chairman, registered a firm in Abu Dhabi, and there we go. I positioned it really, really high, unlike a regular asset management firm. So the first time I remember when I hired my first team, my first sales team of 12, they told me what's the opportunity, and we said, this is the opportunity, this is what we're selling, this is the product, these are our brochures, this is our website. So I'm done with your tools. I'm going to give you the tools, but here's the key. Anyone who's having less than 35 million US dollars cash in hand in the bank account is not allowed to enter the office. And they were like, are you crazy? That's discrimination. I said, that's not discrimination. It's just like that I've opened up a cartel in the asset management space where I just want the right people to come in. Maybe 2 years down the lane, I'll invest somebody.
If you're not able to save for your own self, if you don't have that much money in your account, so how you can go, but why you did that?
So I did that because I had a certain target customer profile. And my customer profile was somebody with liquid 35 million cash in his account each, multiply by 10. So my target was 350 million that I wish to raise. Okay. We had certain assets and different asset classes, and we wanted to raise investment for that. And 7 months, 0 sales. Nobody came in. 12 people, I'm paying their salaries.
And you was not demotivated?
No, because every second day my sales team would come and they would say, Shafaat, we have this customer. And I was like, have you done this due diligence? Yeah.
Okay.
So we have this. I was like, have you done their due diligence? Yes, sir. We spoke to a banker. We spoke to a wealth manager. They say he has cash. He has assets. I said, no. Get your due diligence. Do everything. Once you're done. So basically, it was me positioning myself at a certain level to make sure that I do clean, clear, different, and competitive business. So it was a niche which I wanted to target. And the number was 35 for some reason. 7 months down the lane, I actually came across a client who didn't only have 35, but he had 50. And the next 4 months, we were able to raise what we wished to raise to run the show. So you achieve if you're focused, if you're patient, and if you're persistent.
But was there any time जब आपने ये सोचा नहीं होता, नहीं होगा?
Never.
Why is that so?
Never. I've lost money in my life. I've been victim of all kinds of frauds and all kinds of partnerships which went off. So I haven't really brought them up. But ultimately I learned that you have bad partners and you have good partners. And if you choose a bad partner, you are wrong. It's not that your partner was wrong. It's you made a decision. Not only that you trusted him, you misjudged. You misjudged. All right.
You misjudged. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's even the key for the life I get for too as well. It's if somebody did anything bad to you or they do some injustice or something fraud to you, so it's not like them. It's like you who misjudged.
There is a dua in of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam in Quran, which says, Inni kuntu min az-zalimin. Right, the ayat karima. So ultimately, it's us who are at fault. And the moment we learn this and stop blaming others, for example, today I have a team and I missed out on some deal, or I missed out reading on terms and conditions on a contract, or I missed out on the alignment of an advertisement which went out for print. Nobody's at fault but me. So either I haven't reviewed it, or I haven't put the right system in place. I haven't put the right structure, or I haven't put the right team. We are the only firm, as far as I know, who has a written policy even in our job contract, that we will not fire you.
Okay, and from where this came to you?
So
I can see lots of innovation by the way.
So this came to us because a person
Innovation
is looking,
in offer letter, wow.
okay, so a person is looking for a job, and I have my HR and my, all these managers and your line manager and X managers and Y managers. There's a panel of 10 people interviewing a person. There's a cost to recruit. Time cost, money cost, recruitment agencies cost, X cost, Y cost. There are many costs. Okay. With all that cost, we have all these filtration processes. And with all these filtration processes, if I've hired someone,
that means my filtration process, they were weak.
yeah, so that was weak. Why would a poor guy who, for example, especially in Dubai, somebody comes into Dubai, he gets a job. After the first, second month, he has to pay a 1 year of rental in advance. If he doesn't have the advance, he'll write out the checks. After 6-7 months, he says, oh, I need a car. So he'll get a car on lease. So the guy is already in the debt cycle. Within 6 months, because he's on probation and because we made an equal mistake as much as he's working on job.
By accepting
right?
him and then you recruiting him.
But we have ruined his life by firing him.
Why don't you tell this to the whole corporate world? Wow.
True. So the idea is, if I'm hiring someone, we are very picky when we hire. But when we hire, we really hire a family member. So I understand what is their exposure in debt, number one. What are the family liabilities they have? Are they paying for their parents? Are they living in a combined family system? Whatever. What are the children's school fee? What are the rental? What's the medical expense? So I understand all of it. And I make sure this guy working for me has all of that covered, plus some saving. So I literally, we have 70 plus employees as of now. I know the family of every single employee personally.
Do you people meet up? You do the dinners or what?
We meet up every 2 weeks. And every 1 month we have a family get together. I love to see their families, their children, what are they doing.
So your human resource is very close to your heart.
Very close, because we're in the services industry. Services industry is all about people.
People. Because you're not manufacturing anything.
Even if we are, I think we still have to be close to people. I always believe your salesperson, starting from your receptionist, if it's a walk-in, but if it's an outbound sales setup, your salesperson has your brand name on his forehead, right? If he's not well trained, if he is not well presented, if he doesn't know the ins and outs, and if he doesn't really go out with the motivation, this is my firm. And I have to make it
go. If you don't have the passion to sell the product actually.
True.
He should be like, he wants to sell, the selling is on his top.
Absolutely.
Directly.
So I listen to my sales team, I listen to what market has
to
say.
So what do you do? Okay, fine, you hired somebody, okay, aapko अच्छा लगा, win-win situation, you both agree to the contract.
So
but what do you do so that your employee, they have the same feel which you do have?
Love.
You incorporate the same mission and vision statement into those employees. How?
I'll be dead honest with you. You know, when marketing managers have nothing to do and they want to look busy, they talk, okay, let's write a vision statement and a mission statement. I'm a new marketing manager. You know what? You're a startup. You don't have values. Let me put some of these 6 interesting names and put up some values. The problem is, you do have values, and usually the values of my firm are not based on 6 or 7 or 10 values. I think we have all the values that a good human being should have. You can't really define the values of a firm into 6 or 7 key core values. Your core values.
It's not practical.
It's not practical. It has to be more than that.
More than that.
So, and it's an ongoing process.
You cannot cover the whole human behavior in 7 values actually.
True.
This is what you are saying.
So vision, vision for even a corporation is usually the vision for one of their founders or one of their CEOs. And a new CEO or new chairman comes and he puts up his own vision. It's more personal than corporate. And that vision is for that guy or the person writing up some vision that, okay, we take care of the stakeholders, we want to give back to the community, blah, 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 blah. The point is, what's the vision of your employees in your firm? And most importantly, what is the vision of your customers? What is that your customer expects from you as a firm? That should be your vision, not what you want to do, not what you want to achieve.
It's more like that you are very much interested in your all stakeholders. It's not only the employee, it's the customer too. It's not only the customer, it's the vendor too. So it's more like that your companies or the companies which you are heading, they are more inclined towards all of their stakeholders equally.
You know, the whole universe is orbiting from an atom around a nucleus to the universe. And everything which is in an orbit is
attracted towards the nucleus.
Okay. Apart from that, is attracted to its own nucleus, or its own solar system, or its own Milky Way. The only binding force which keeps everybody rotating in a certain orbit is love. Unless you are unable to inject love
into the stakeholder, whether it's a customer, whether it's an employee. Oh wow. I guess. So, message of love to the corporate world. Oh wow.
So, message of love with a very clean and clear intention. If our intention is profitability alone, I would have failed long back. Right? To us, profitability or wealth is a byproduct of excellence, of achievement. My clients would come, even in my agency business, sometimes your clients get upset. You know, oh well, we don't want to pay you. And in UAE and even here in Pakistan, it's a common practice to not to pay the balance 50%, you know, or the 40%. It's a common practice. We have always welcomed all kinds of businesses. Starting from a 2,000 dirhams website to a 40,000 dirhams website, we have done it. And we have done it with the same passion. We have essentially helped, assisted grow brands. We have assisted entrepreneurs realize their dreams through the right marketing, branding, business, commercial strategy. We have helped them implement it. We have helped them look into their finances. We have helped them raise capital. So my asset management firm provides financial advisory, we provide venture capital, we invest ourselves and everything. When I was a young kid, my father taught me something. He said, Shafaat, no matter what you do, munshi apna hona chahiye.
मुंशी अपना होना चाहिए। मतलब आप लोगों जो फाइनेंस वाला भाई है ना, वो जो CFO जो प्लस माइनस कर रहा है, सैलरियां दे रहा है, बिल ले रहा है, वो अपना होना चाहिए।
He should be yours. He should be your guy. I didn't understand back then.
अच्छा.
I understood probably a decade later. When I incurred my first loss, and I understood that my partner is keeping two different kinds of books. You know, so when I realized that my partner is keeping two different kinds of books, that's where I realized that I have to have the CFO. If you're CFO and you're the signatory on finances, you know what's actually happening in your firm. Sales are going up, going down. What's the ROI? What's your gross margins? How much are you spending? What you're doing? We always love to give extra.
Okay, Shafaat, now tell us, what are the three major competencies a CEO must have? क्या कैसे तरक्की करेगा वो एक नया एंटरप्रेन्योर? ऐसी कौन सी तीन चीजें हैं which you think is a must to be a CEO, which you have learned from 2010 till 2019?
Number one, humility.
Humility.
Humility. Humility opens up your heart to learning. Humility opens up your vision to observe.
There are lots of very, very successful people around the world who are not into too much humility. And it's very obvious.
They must have been at one point of time. The problem is again, how do you define success?
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed. So humility, number one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk it all out, but there are prime minister and presidents who have won elections being very humble, and then something happens to them. So if that was a success, it's a complex thing. But bottom line is to have humility deep down in your heart. You know.
Number two?
That nurtures many things. Number two, you need to benchmark a leader. You need to be inspired.
By someone.
by someone. It could be human or non-human.
Non-human? No,
Yeah.
non-human wala factor.
Okay, it could be any entity, it could be an idea, it could be someone's expression of art. You need to have some kind of inspiration. Okay, where you wish to be and what you need to become. So inspiration is number 2.
And number 3?
And number 3 is empathy. I need to know what my customer
there
feels.
There are finance involved. कोई number नहीं आया आपकी success के इर्द-गिर्द.
And I have no people in there. It's not a firm. It's bricks and mortar or cement and furniture. Be it a manufacturing concern, a service industry, or any industry. What we are selling, we are ultimately selling it to people as well.
To the people. So मतलब there are people around.
आप जहाँ से भी इसको देख लें, it's a people to people relationship.
Whenever there is a business, that means people to people relationship.
Right, okay.
It can't be people with machines or people
finance is a tool. Marketing is a tool. All these departments are a tool. All these functions are a function and a tool. But they are not necessarily what you are as a whole. What really makes you a leader, what really makes you an entrepreneur is actually your belief system compared to anything else.
So now tell me, SHAFAAT, who is a speaker or who's a trainer? How this came into with advertising and with the asset management, how come you became a trainer too?
So
कैसे हो गया?
So I'm not really I won't say I'm a formal trainer or something.
Okay.
So we started off, since we were providing advisory and consulting to large groups like Dubai Properties.
You told us about the bank too.
The banks and the big corporations and a lot of SMEs. So people would start inviting us that, you know what, why don't you do a free session? We're doing a networking event, why don't you speak? And that's where it all started. I have an idea about life, which starts from pretty much faith, belief system, and many other things, you know. And somehow there were a bunch of people who got inspired from what my thought process is about life. And they said, you know, why don't you share it? So, okay. And I have my own learnings, you know. Everybody, like anybody else, we have our own set of experiences. So I just literally stand up on the roster and share my experience.
How do you judge whether your session was a successful session or not? कैसे पता चलता है? आंखों से, attitude से लोगों के या afterwards किसी तरह? How do you conclude that your session was a successful session?
I think again, it's the parameters of success. You expect different things from different sessions, from different audience.
I'm talking about the training session.
The training sessions even. And my success is only seen after 5 months or 6 months if I've been able to change one person.
One person. That's a huge change.
You know, and the thing is, you know, these days we have all kinds of these sessions, training sessions, motivational speakers all over the globe. They pretty much are repeating the same message, which is being learned across on international trainers. I mean, sometimes Jack Ma is the big guy on motivation, sometimes Stephen Covey this.
That's all. It's like change your faces with the same content.
Right.
Change your words with the same content.
Then you add up some local shairi in it, and then you make it a bit more. Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, in all of these sessions, what is it that you have brought in, which is original, which is originally yours? I respect people who have actually implemented businesses.
Content.
Right? As much as I respect those who have been reading books and becoming a consultant, I haven't read those. They can teach us a lot. They can give us learning, but they can't give us wisdom.
They can.
Wisdom comes from someone who has experienced it, who has been there.
Who actually have done that.
Somebody who has managed only 3 people in a real life environment knows more at times, you know. So it's a mix and match of both. My case, I haven't learned, sorry to say, but I haven't ever studied the 7 habits. I never read the book.
Okay.
Okay. I never read number of other books which are commonly used. uh, what I speak about is how to get things done, how to execute stuff.
That's all.
I could have a big dream, and I still have a dream, like everybody else. We all dream, right? I can't achieve the dream if I don't implement, and if I don't have a working strategy, and if I don't have the right team to even implement.
Or even not the right attitude.
Or the right attitude. So all these things add up towards success. Fundamentally, there is one thing which I really want to highlight on this. No matter what you become or what you wish to be, there is a bigger hand involved.
There's a bigger?
There's a bigger hand involved.
Okay.
There's the God's will. Right? He puts you on track.
He do.
Okay? He puts you in certain directions. As far as your intention is clear and you're good to his creation, he'll be good to you.
Good to his creations.
Right? That's the key. And that's why my hand is held. It's not our prayers which are always supposed to be answered. You started off with my name, right?
Yeah.
So it's usually others' prayers जिनकी शफात आपको मिलती है and
into your success.
Right.
क्या पता वो किसी और की दुआ.
Correct. So if you
किसी
have
के लिए आपने रहम किया और वो आपके लिए सिला रहमी बन गया.
So it's for me it's you could be in New York, you could be in Dubai, you could be in Lahore. You could be washing, let's say, pardon me, there's nothing wrong in it, but you could be washing dishes, for example, or you could be you could do a car wash stuff. So let's say you're not doing as per your potential. But at the same time, if you have the right people to pray for you, you could be in Kalashikaku running a $100 million factory.
So please, all of you, be kind to the creation. Allah की जो मखलूक है उसके साथ आप रहे. मगर नहीं. Now the short question. जल्दी से बताइए, what is your idea of happiness? Short. No one-liner answers.
Happiness does not consist in having many things, but in needing few.
What's your favorite movie?
Probably none. None. I have a lot of favorite movies, so I can't really pinpoint on one.
Anything which you recommend others to watch? Any movie which you recommend others to watch?
Godfather.
Huh?
The Godfather.
Godfather. All right. Your favorite food?
Steaks.
Your wish right now?
My wish right now?
Yes.
Grab a nap of 1 hour. We're sleepless.
Okay. So please give a message of hope and optimism to youth.
Hope and optimism. I guess youth should work on their skills. You can't really be an entrepreneur overnight. You need to go through a learning curve. Respect elders, respect those who have experienced, respect what others have done successfully in life. You can't be a copy-paste of somebody else's life, right? But you could always pick few things, implement. Stop daydreaming. Become real. Wealth and money is not what you should run after. Driving a great car, wearing a nice suit is not the objective here. You know, spending money on fashion and consumer products is probably not the key here. The key here is communication skills. A person has great communication skills and he speaks well if he has the wisdom and if he knows what he's speaking. Even from our belief system, God has communicated through 4 different books to mankind. The key was communication, which changed our beliefs. And the key was having sent somebody who is an inspiration to mankind through great manners, excellent akhlaq, for example. That's the key. If you have not learned adab, akhlaq, manners, courtesy, you know, and all these things, you can never be successful. It's not about getting into a brand, becoming a brand manager, becoming a head of sales of XYZ South, or having a title printed at the age of 19 as a CEO. I never did that. I started, until 4 years ago, I would just humble myself down and write vice president, for example. Although I'm the chairman, I own the business, but I would write VP. Just to kind of tone myself down that no, I still need to have.
It's not chairman coming up.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm talking to the chairman.
Correct, yeah. So I think I still have to, you know, hit my 50s to have that title. done for myself. Not as of now. I don't think I'm in that league, right? The league which I wish to be, honestly, and that's very personal. But that's the league of people who leaves a good legacy behind. The legacy which is non-political, non-religious, but is based on humanity and love and peace. I want to leave a legacy, a concept, a theory of business, a theory of success, which fosters peace. That's the legacy I want to leave behind. We are the only species probably which kills each other. There's no other species which does this to each other. And as you, if you help others, trust my words, you will be helped. That's probably the key message.
Thank you so much, Shafaat. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for inviting me here.